Hello, this is Tom Herring. I just wanted to take a chance to show you guys some of the knives I have, or that I have accumulated over the last 15 years maybe. Anyway, I'll start with my everyday carry, the knives I carry with me every day. And the first one is this one. Pretty popular knife. The Swiss Army knife, model of 1898 I believe. It's kind of like a Boy Scout knife, so you probably recognize it. Very cheap, under $20. Currently I have 3 of these, I think, so I have 2 spares. I had 5, but I give them away as gifts. I've probably given away 10 of them, I don't know. I used to carry them and use them for everything and beat them, and then just give it away and replace it with a new one. So that one's lasted me for probably 4 years since I quit beating them, Anyway, my other knife that I carry in a cargo pocket that I use for general cutting of stuff or whatnot, a larger blade, is this SOG Trident. Very good utility blade. I like it a lot. I got this for my birthday from a very good friend of mine. Very happy to get that, I've been wanting one for a while, but I just couldn't bring myself to spend the $70 or whatever it costs to get them. And move on to some other pocket knives. This is one I recently acquired. Apparently they don't make anymore. It's the Benchmade, and I don't know what the model is, but I bought it off my friend. He has a serrated one he likes better, but I just wanted this to put in a pack, a small knife to keep in a pack. Small knives for me work better for just general duties like camping and stuff like that, or outdoor stuff. This is the one I keep in my pickup truck in a door. It's a Buck Model 110 folder. I bought it at Walmart. I have one on the way from the factory because I like the nickel bolsters, and I just went ahead and sprung for the fancier steel. This steel works just fine. This knife is very sharp, and this is straight out of the store from Walmart at that. I just run it across some leather. That's all I had to do to get a good razor's edge on it. It'll shave. That pretty much concludes what I carry in my truck. Now I have a pack that I take shooting with me, and inside my pack I keep this knife, or strapped to the pack. It's a patrol pack, a Molly patrol pack. This is a cold steel ODA. It's in 4116 Krupp stainless, I believe. I should have gotten one when they were in carbon V steel, but this steel sharpened up nicely. Like I say, it's pretty stainless steel. I haven't rusted this steel yet. So it works. I use that just for, I haven't used it yet, I don't think. But you never know, just keep it there just in case. This is a knife I keep on my standard gear, or my shooting gear, or my field gear. This is a cold steel GI Tonto. The steel is 1055, I believe. It's a spring steel, it'll rust. This is a very tough knife. Very sharp out of the box. The only modifications I did to this knife was I rewrapped the handle with GI parachute cord very tightly. And this is the handle. This is wrapped per the website Strider, their site, to rewrap their handles. And I'd highly recommend doing that if you own this knife. Here's another cold steel knife. It's the Recon Tonto. This was given to me for Christmas. And this is a very big, very heavy knife. Good for hacking. And prying, I imagine. Look at that. That is just thick. But I haven't used it or carried it for much of anything. It would be probably I would carry it on my field gear. But this knife is quite expensive. So I'd rather carry the Recon Tonto, which only cost $17, I believe. Here's another knife that I got. I had another Buck, a PCRA rodeo knife that I found in a car I'd bought. And one of my real good friends, he borrowed it on long-term loan, and it kind of looks like this. He used the knife for everything. Broke the tip off, used a screwdriver. It finally got too worn out to use, so he gave it back to me, and I sent it off to Buck. And they sent me this knife back, which looks nothing like the one I sent, but I'm like, hey, this is a very nice knife. It's very lightweight, aluminum handle, stainless steel blade, and a saw. Very, very nice design. Called the Crosslock Alpha, I believe, or Hunter. But I haven't got a chance to use it yet. Because, well, it's too dang nifty, I guess. I don't know. Here's one I gotten off eBay. This is a 1970, I believe, case sodbuster. It's called a 10 dot. It should have some dots on the bottom for you guys that collect cases. I didn't buy it as a collector as per se, but I just bought it. My old man carried these knives growing up. He always used them to cut hogs and just for everything. He always had a sodbuster in his pocket. And it's a lot bigger than I remembered as a kid. That's a big knife for a pocket knife. This would work very good for skinning wild animals or whatever that you shot. And speaking of skinning animals, I have a knife here. This is a K-bar coffin handle, I believe it's called. It's a very large blade on this knife. Very large knife. That is a very big folding knife. And I bought this knife due to an old cowboy in Northeast Texas. He's the one that showed my friends. I had a couple of friends that went down hunting with me, and I killed a boar, or a big sow hog, and the guy, he pulled out a tray just like this, and that's what he used to skin that hog, because he's showing my buddies how to skin a hog. I had done it growing up as a kid, but to have this old timer teach these guys, you just can't replace that kind of stuff. But this knife is very sharp. I haven't got to use it yet for that purpose, because I only go hunting once a year. And you have to kill something if you want to skin it. Here's another K-bar I have. I bought this on eBay also. This is a knife just like I had when I was a kid. I was 9 years old when I got my knife just like this, except for this blade was snapped off in half. I don't know if my grandpa snapped it off to keep me from stabbing myself, or that's the reason he gave me the knife, because it was broke and he wouldn't carry it anymore. But I had quite an adoration for these knives, and I found this knife shipped for 13 bucks. Very happy to get it. Pass it on to one of my kids, I'm sure. I carried it in my pocket for quite a while before I started carrying as I was carrying the Swiss Army knife, that I've been carrying this same style knife just like this on a lanyard for the last 10 years, or 11 years now. Here's another one I got. It's a Moore Maker, made in Matador, Texas. I don't know if they're handmade or not. Very nice knife. Haven't used it yet. It just sits in a box. I believe it's carbon steel, so it'll stain. Got to be careful. Very pretty knife. You know, Stockman blade. And I'll more than likely just give this as a present to one of my children, or to somebody in my family. I don't know yet. Here's a couple of knives I really have no purpose for. This one is a Microtech Ultratech with I don't know what they call the blade. It has something TE probably for Tonto, and then it's serrated, but I've cut a few things with it, not too much. And this one here is just, I don't know really what purpose this knife serves besides being intimidating. That thing comes out with authority. This is the Microtech Halo 2. This is actually a very strong knife, very well built, I think. Very high quality. These guys, they're on top of their game when it comes to this. But apparently they're known to be the best in the business. They're little prima donnas, but anyway, on to the fixed blades, or the rest of my fixed blades. This one here is a Buck 119 Special. These knives, you see them in all the slasher flicks. They've been around for a long time. Oh man, he had a couple of these too. He had one with a 9-inch blade. I don't know what it was called, but it was really neat too. He had several. He had the whole collection, the Pathfinder, the Skinner. He was very fond of them. He said he didn't like them very much for skinning because he said the blades got slick. It's a phenolic plastic type handle. He said that it gets slick with blood. But I never had that problem. I try to keep my hands clean anyway. Here's one of my K-bars. I have several other with my name and stuff engraved in them. This is one that I have engraved also on the other side, of course. But this is my general purpose use knife. My K-bar that I used to use in my kit until I replaced it with a GI Tonto. 1095 carbon steel, very good knife, very good steel, very tough. It'll do anything you want to do. It's not a pry bar though, it's a knife, so just treat it as such and it'll last you a long time. Here's one that I had a guy add for a pistol I bought one time. I had him add this on for me to buy it to sweeten the pot. This is a Sheffield Bowie, a Sheffield Israeli combat knife. It's very front heavy, very thick steel blade, leather handle just like the K-bar. A big fuller right here cut out, a lot larger than K-bar. Very nice steel. You know, I only bought it just because I thought it was pretty neat. I haven't found a use for it yet. I was going to engrave it and give it to a Jewish buddy of mine when he got out of the Marine Corps, but never got around to it. Here's another cold steel. It's an SRK. This is the carbon V steel. I got this knife at a gun show 6 years ago, maybe. Very sharp knife. I don't think I ever touched up the blade on this. This was my 6 years ago. This was my knife on my field gear, and this is probably all you need. I like this knife, this style. The blade's small. It's not very big. 6-inch blade, I believe. You don't need a lot of blade. Very thick, very sturdy. Great for myriad of purposes. I had an EOD guy tell me that these Kraton handles slipped, or they spun off these knives though, but he said even then they still prefer to have them again, you know. I believe the Navy Special Warfare likes these knives a lot, but that's what this guy did. He was in a Navy EOD. Here's one I bought just because it was pretty. SOG Trident 2, I believe it's Trident 2, yes. Has a trident on it. I was never in a Navy or a SEAL, but very pretty knife. The blade is a little thick. It's a little wieldy, very sharp point. I worry that I'm going to drop it. Same kind of, it's not a plastic, well, it's like a plastic. This is a micarta handle. Kind of like what circuit card boards are made out of. Very tough stuff. Impervious to just about anything, I believe, but very nice knife. I have other ones I prefer to carry. You know, I don't think I could find much of a use for that knife. Besides, it was made for, you know, killing people, combat use, but you know, I don't do combat, so. Here's a Schrade Sharpfinger. I'm not even sure what steel they use to make this knife, but it's very good steel. You can see it's got pittings on it from blood. I've used this knife to skin my first deer. I've had this knife since the mid-90s. You see a lot of lanyards on my knives, but yes, very, very handy little knife. I used to keep this on my gear. I have like an old cowboy shooting setup that I bought in Mexico with a holster and stuff. I used to keep that knife on it. Here's my new favorite. I just acquired this knife. It's a SOG Agency. Now I'm partial to the Randall knives, the Randall #1 with a 7-inch blade. This is pretty much a copy of that knife. And I find this knife to have a very good feel. The blade steel is not too thick, but it's not thin enough to be useless. I believe it's AUS 8 steel. It's pretty sharp. The sheath is not the highest. The sheath is high quality, just poorly designed. I'm not too happy with the sheath. I had to stitch it up with some. It cut through the sheath when I put it in, and I wrote them, and they said they were going to replace the sheath. I had to restitch it with some dental floss to make it work, but oh well, it happens. There's some more of my eBay collection. This right here is a L66 or L39, I believe. I don't know, it's one or the other. L, the model number in the westerns represents leather handle. If it's W, it'd be wood. I'm not sure if Stag has S or not, but this is a this is a very good style blade for skinning. It's a little long, but probably as big as I'd want to go for a skinning knife. I've given away a lot of these knives. They make very good gifts. And this here is a companion. I believe this might be the L66 Western, but I think this is it right here. Blade's just right for skinning. Just right. This is right size, you know. So this is probably, I'm going to finish this knife up. It'll be my go-to knife. I'll blue the steel blade and finish out the handle and polish this. You see the green. I haven't cleaned this knife up yet, but this is one that, excuse me, I haven't worked on too much yet. This is a Remington RH32 Skinner. And it looks like they have it figured out when it gets bloody and slick right there, that big pummel right there. But it has the gimps or whatever they call them back there. Gibbs, I don't know, what do you think? Jimping, that's what it is. Gimps. For the blade, so you don't slip. Here's a Kinfolks. I believe this knife was made by Case, accompanied by Case. This is a good size. The handle's a little small for skinning, but this is a good size blade for skinning and general outdoor use. The blade's not too thick, so keep it for, if you take care of it and don't cut stupid stuff, then you should be okay. But anyway, this is everything that I have here. And if you guys want to know anything more about any of these knives, just shoot me a message. You'll have a good one.